Come join us at Charlotte Motor Speedway as we attend the Ford SHELBY GT 500 track tour. This is an opportunity to learn more about the SHELBY GT 500 from Ford Performance suppliers as well as Ford Performance itself.
When you put enthusiasts with tools and time, fun things can happen.
Here at Charlotte Motor Speedway, and we're here doing GT 500s today.
I want to welcome you guys all here and tell you how happy we are. We truly enjoy this. We've been doing the track tour since 2015 with the SHELBY GT 350. So what we do here is we take the SHELBY GT 500 and we have you with the Ford Performance Racing School instructors. And today we actually happen to be at the track where the Ford Performance Racing School calls its home. So every SHELBY GT 350 owner, GT 500 owner, Raptor, Edge ST, Explorer ST, Focus ST, Focus RS, Fiesta ST, Boss 302 back in the day. With the purchase of the vehicle, you get an opportunity to come here free of charge. You pay for your flight down and your hotel, and we take you through with the professional instructors. Back in '64, April 17th, New York World's Fair, unveiling a new segment called the Pony Car, which was the Mustang. The Fairlane Committee wanted to develop a vehicle that the people returning from World War II and people who had more disposable income could enjoy Route 66 in a car that was more than getting you from point A to point B. You know, we thought we'd sell 300,000 and we sold more than 1.1 million in the first 18 months. That car kind of changed the dynamic, and quickly thereafter, Javelin, Camaro, Challenger all came into the fray. The longest continuous running nameplate in the United States, thank you Corvette for forgetting a model year, 1983, they forgot. They rolled right through. So the longest continuous running nameplate has its heritage from here. What we say is, you know, this isn't your grandpa's GT 500. Now I'm the grandpa age, right? I could own one of these as well. That was a straight line shot. The SHELBY GT 500 is the fastest production Mustang we have ever done in a straight line and on a road course. So it has evolved from what Gary went through in '67. This car is beautiful, by the way. It's just absolutely a wonderful car. But that one is more than a one-trick pony, as you felt over there on the road course and you'll feel over there on the drag strip. One of the things I wanted to get to, though, is in the '60s, Carroll and his merry band of hot rodders, working with the Fairlane Committee and Lee Iacocca and the Ford team, that spirit, just like the Ford family carries forward, that spirit still carries forward today with our relationship with Shelby. And so I'd like to introduce Arron Shelby, who's Carroll's grandson, and a member of the board of directors for the Carroll Shelby Foundation, to talk to you a little bit about the relationship today. Arron?
Thank you, Jim. I appreciate it. Thanks for being here, everybody. Back in the mid-'60s, when Carroll put the Mustang program together, Cobras have been successful. He did a media reel for marketing purposes when they were getting the GT 350 line set up. And he walks out and he says, "My name is Carroll Shelby, and performance is my business." And today, performance is still Shelby's business and Ford's. Ford was his performance partner back in the '60s, and Ford and Shelby are performance partners today. But looking at this car, looking at the GT 350 back here, I've got a 2015 GT 350. It is just astounding to see what they've been able to do from a performance perspective. So it's exciting for me to help carry on not just Carroll's legacy, but the company's legacy. I'm on the board of directors for Carroll Shelby International. I do some great ambassador work. Gary and I are up in Dearborn multiple times a year, meet the teams up there to make sure that we're all on the same page and going the same direction. It's just been it's a great relationship. We look forward to it continuing on for many years to come.
Carroll and his merry band of hot rodders coming back from winning Le Mans, from finishing 1, 2, 3 in the Ford GT40 program. Carroll still is the only human who won as a driver, a manufacturer, and a team owner to win Le Mans. To do it, he comes back, and he's been successful with the GT350 and SCCA Production B, winning championships in 65 and 66, with the second car off the line, the first competition model, winning like 13 of the 15 races. Had the Cobras, what year did they win? 64? 64, the Cobras won. So when he came back, he's like, the ads, and when he used to do ads back in the day, they were movie like posters. Like, remember how movies are advertised with the posters? He did, his ad agency, I forget who it was, did like the movie posters, and on the bottom it said a Le Mans inspired engine. Right? He wanted to take that and leverage that big block, like we kill him with displacement, into the GT500. This is a local owner's, Mike Rogers, who let us use this. It's been in the Mustang Museum, which is here locally in Charlotte as well. But he let us come out and use it. But this is where it started with the GT500. And what I'd like to do is turn it over to Gary Patterson, who's the president of Shelby American, to kind of walk you through what it was in '67.
Yeah, this car was actually a very remarkable car in 1967, because when you put it in perspective, we've come 53 years since then, right? So 53 years the other way, you're driving a Model T. And compared to a Model T, what a remarkable car. It had a big block Ford V8 engine with 355 horses. In 1967, we got more than double that today, but that was remarkable compared to a Model T. And it had modern amenities like AM radio, roll-up windows. Remember, they actually had windows. It kept some of the water out. Anybody's had a 67? Yeah, they keep some of the water out. If you look at the body panel fit and finish, this is how it was, right? 67. Disc brakes. Wow. We had disc brakes in the front only. They were about the size of your appetizer plate when you went to dinner last night, right? Those disc brakes are more than the size of the wheel on this car. If you took the cars and you went out to the track on the road course and you timed a Model T, you might need an hourglass, turn that thing over, you know. This thing, it would just kill it. You probably need an hourglass for this compared to that. So we've come a long way in this 53 years. The other thing is, this car was like a one-hit wonder. Great car, straight line, 13 second quarter miles, really good. That little 4-cylinder EcoBoost over there will beat it in a straight line. I think we've learned something in 53 years. But, so the car is really a remarkable car. We've got a great history, NASCAR-inspired engine, as Jim mentioned, 2 4-barrels and all that. But what Jim and the team will go through with you now is how far we've come in the 53 years since. And what you'll see in these product attributes is quite remarkable. And it's an honor to work with the Ford team to do that. So Jim, why don't you just...
Thanks, Gary, I appreciate it. So yeah, and we carry it forward through today. So I want to talk a little bit about the Mustangs that we're doing today. The Ford Performance team works with partners that share the same passion for performance that we do. Let's talk a little bit about the tires. Those are Michelin on this car, Pilot Sport Cup 2s. Michelin and the Ford Performance engineers work together to develop a unique cookie dough and a unique cookie tin. So compound and mold, specifically for the GT500. And on the sidewall of the tires, you will see the ones that are indicated that have FP on the side of the tire, means that was the one that was specifically designed for that car. Now, as you move farther down here, when you're capable of doing 0 to 100 to 0 on the deck of an aircraft carrier Deep down places you don't go at night, you need those brakes to stop you. You want those 6-piston calipers. When you're coming down over there from 140 down to the 180-degree turn over there, you want those brakes down there. So we work with Brembo to develop the calipers for it. The Brembo and the partnership that we do.
Thank you, Jim. Good morning. My name is Brandon Miller. I'm with Brembo North America. And we're very lucky enough actually to have a long-standing relationship with Ford going back almost 20 years now. Our first project that we worked on was for the Cobra R back in 2000. And continuing and evolving that relationship, we have now worked on the GT350, GT500. And we work directly with the Ford engineering to design all the components specifically for each vehicle. So we're very happy to be here and thank you all for coming.
This is a 67 GT500 Goodyear tire and wheel. If you notice, this is the rotor on the 2020 Shelby GT500. The outside diameter of the rotor is larger than the outside diameter of the wheel, and the width of the caliper and rotor is wider than the tire that they drove on. So you see how much that technology has improved in the engine itself. The men and women of the UAW at the Romeo Niche assembly line and Flat Rock where it's assembled are really proud of what they do. Hand build each of these engines from a block all the way up. And at the end, when they're done, they stamp their names into the engine so you know who built the engine when you're doing a 10.82 on the quarter mile. How do we get from 526 horsepower on the 5.2 with the flat clean crank to 760 on the supercharged version of the 5.2? You need a good supercharger. And we worked with Eaton to develop a supercharger that brings it up from 526 to 760 horsepower. It was developed specifically for this vehicle, so it sits really low in between the middle of that V8. And how they designed the impellers and how the air comes in really helps us develop the extra horsepower that you need on it. Then you got the 760 horsepower, 5.2 liter Eaton supercharged engine, cross-clean crank, going through to get to the independent rear, has to go through a Tremec transmission box. Now Tremec has been doing our manuals for performance for as long as I've been involved in it. This is Tremec's first 7-speed dual clutch transmission that was developed specifically for this vehicle. Picture it as two manual transmissions together, where the incoming gear and the outgoing gear are engaged at the same time, or like coming in and out. The difference is, if you have to push in the clutch, grab the gear, heel toe it to get to the right RPM, that takes time. If you blink your eyes, that's how fast this transmission can shift. So if you're talking about the all-out performance of the vehicle, the 7-speed dual clutch is what makes it both sub-11 second quarter mile and fastest on a road course that we've ever done. Now, manual transmissions are great. Tremec builds a great box. It's in the GT350. It's going to be in the Mach 1. It's a good manual transmission and good for racing. But if you're going for all-out performance, that 7-speed dual clutch really makes a difference. So I'd like to introduce our Tremec representative so that he can kind of talk to you about how integrated into this partnership he is.
Thank you. Hello, my name is Chris Schlecht. I was one of 2 resident calibration engineers with Tremec, and myself and my colleague, we worked very closely with Ford Performance. We had our own desks in the Ford Performance building that we were pretty much stationed there for the 3+ years of development. So the entire development process, from going on all of the track test trips, or the drag strip test trips, going out to Arizona every winter so we could continue development when you can't do that in Dearborn. Every step of the way, it was a lockstep with Ford Performance and their engineers to make sure that what they wanted out of transmission and the car as far as performance, we were able to deliver. Just constantly creating new software whenever we needed to, getting the calibrations perfect. From everything from performance lunch, feature, line lock to shift schedule around the track so that it matches pretty much exactly what some of the best race car drivers in the world would do in a manual transmission, to how it shifts so it doesn't disrupt the car in the corners, but you still have an extra push on the drag strip as you're going through the shift. So all that was done directly working with Ford Performance, so it's been fun.
You want to be in a Recaro seat. You want to be strapped in and fully NHTSA certified, and our partners with Recaro have been in the business almost as long as we have. And you want to talk a little bit about the Recaro relationship?
Hello, my name is Nicole McElroy. I'm with Recaro Automotive, and we've been in industry for over 100 years. We originally started out as a manufacturer of cars, and then eventually evolved into performance car seating. We've been with Ford for over 41 years, starting out at the Indianapolis 500 as a base car and developing from there. The reason it's important to have the history that we have, though, we were the first ever to do racing shows. And also the first ever to do a racing show that had the Hans device application to it and the head surround. Always had an attention to innovation and doing the first is what we call it. And that's how we developed this seat. The seat is very lightweight, keeps you in place. It purposely has the materials that you see in it on purpose. It keeps you in place, and it's also moisture wicking. So as you're on track, you start to get that heat going on, right? And you need to feel it. You need to feel what's going on with the vehicle. So we purposely work with the Ford team over the time period.
What the engineers did this time is they took 3D printed components, and if they were down at the test track and said, oh no, you know what, we need 5 more mils wider on the splitter wickers, that could take weeks to tool apart. So what they would do is 3D print the part. You can see they're different than what is on the final of the car. So what it was able to do was quicken the design turnaround so that you could improve the performance. So on the back here is the gurney flap that's on the handling package. As you see, it's not very proud to the rear wing. That's how high up the gurney flap goes now. That adds almost 200 pounds of downforce in the handling package. And they were able to do that using the aero buck and the 3D printed parts to keep making the iterations of performance gain faster. So that when we developed the car to actually be on the road, it could actually perform so much better because we could change it more often to get to there. Now, this is almost 300 pound or 200 pound a downforce increase. This carbon fiber rear wing is based off of the GT4 program, the exact replica, and in its up position is almost 500 pound-feet of downforce. You'd feel that coming out of turn 2 when you were driving down there. Did you feel it when it settled you in? That's the air pushing you down to get that force to the rear tires. So we learned that on 3D printing. Pretty decent car. Pretty decent event. First off, I want to say thank you on behalf of not only all the men and women of Ford Performance, but the Ford family and the leadership of the company. Thank you for being here and taking the time to understand the innovation and technology that we put into these vehicles. We like to say that when we're here, we're trying to change hearts and minds one lap at a time, and we can't do it without not only the team that put this on, but specifically our Ford Performance Racing School instructors. The last group I want to thank is the Charlotte Motor Speedway folks. If you see this facility, it is an absolute world-class facility, and them and their team really do a good job to help us, make us both safe and provide us the playground to do this in. So on behalf of all the team here, I want to say thank you. We appreciate you being here, and go out and find a Shelby to drive sometime soon. Thanks, folks.
hope you have liked this video on the Shelby GT 500 track tour at Charlotte Motor Speedway.